This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, a convoy of minis makes its way from north of Auckland to Invercargill. A potential new dairy industry is promoted at field days near Christchurch. And a historic Land Rover is going on display at Wheels over Wanaka this weekend. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. Invercargill was the final destination for the convoy of 48 minis that spent 6 days driving down from Paihia, north of Auckland. Recreating the iconic movie Goodbye Pork Pie, the annual event raises funds for charity.
They finally made it. A convoy of 48 minis have completed a journey of more than 2,000 kilometres from Paihia, north of Auckland, all the way to Invercargill as part of the Pork Pie charity run.
Lots of fun, lots of dressing up and raising funds for KidsCan.
Emulating the classic 1981 film Goodbye Pork Pie, this year's journey included stops in Franz Josef and Te Anau, two towns which have been hit by the lack of international tourists. The trip took 6 days, with several participants choosing to dress up for the road.
Every day there was a different costume.
This is costume number 6.
Number 6.
This year's event raised more than $250,000 towards KidsCan, a charity to help children out of poverty. In Invercargill, The South Today.
One person was taken to hospital after a house in Bluff was gutted by fire this morning. 4 crews attended the blaze in Burrows Street at about 8 a.m. One person was taken to Southland Hospital with moderate injuries, and the structural integrity of the house was completely destroyed. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. A record number of people turned up for the annual field days in Kirui, west of Christchurch. One of the exhibits demonstrated the new industry of farming sheep for milk.
Tens of thousands of people turned out to see machinery demonstrations, primary industry trade sites and interactive stalls at the South Island Agricultural Field Days in Kirui. Agricultural recruitment and training firms are working hard to attract New Zealanders into the rural sector. And budding young farm workers from Villa Maria College learned about rearing cattle with a demonstration mechanical cow. Scenes like this of sheep farming may be making a comeback, with a few Canterbury farmers now milking East Frisian sheep for both cheese and skincare products.
We milk our sheep twice a day, 4:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon. We get approximately 1 to 2 litres of milk from our sheep on a daily basis. The lactation period for sheep is about 200 days. We are working on genetics to get a hardier breed for the rough climate of the South Island. So we are working with vets to get that breed across so that we can also milk all year round.
Kirui farmer Matt Jones is one of those making the switch and milks about 600 sheep.
Yeah, look, it is the best milk, and I can argue that all day long. It is far superior than any other milk product on the market, and our environmental footprint is significantly less than other producers of milk.
Jones says 2 sheep can produce as much milk as 1 cow, with sheep milk being more valuable.
Yeah, we've got animals at home that come from dams that have done 180 milk solids in a lactation. You know, cows in New Zealand are only double that.
Currently, there's only about half a dozen Canterbury farmers milking sheep, but numbers are expected to double each year over the next few years. In Kirui, The South Today.
After 40 years of gathering on the freezing Maniatoto Plains, the Brass Monkey Rally is set to take place for the last time this year. Held near Oturahua every Queen's birthday weekend, the event has undergone a demise due to a lack of younger riders and increasing bureaucracy. Last year was supposed to be the final event, but was put off due to COVID-19. Instead, the rally is to be held on the 5th and 6th of June, with about 1,000 motorcycle enthusiasts attending. Organisers say an alternative event is likely to replace the Brass Monkey, but what that will look like is yet to be confirmed. A classic Land Rover is set to visit Central Otago over Easter, as it's among the many vehicles due to be at Wings and Wheels in Wanaka.
Over 130 Land Rovers and their proud owners have come to Wanaka from across New Zealand to go on a series of four-wheel drive treks through the high country.
For the next 3 days, we're going to do 3 one-day safaris over high country stations in the greater Wanaka area, and these are being run as fundraisers for Wanaka Search and Rescue.
Rally organiser Rod Corbett has on loan to him one of the 2 Land Rovers that, in 1955, drove overland from London to Singapore and back for the first time. The much-travelled vehicle was found in pieces on St Helena Island in the South Atlantic and has been reassembled. It's now touring the country to promote the Land Rover brand.
So it's here in New Zealand, touring through and stopping off at all the Jaguar Land Rover dealerships in New Zealand, and we're also using it for Land Rover Club displays and club safaris and activities.
Corbett says since their beginnings in the 1940s, Land Rovers have become part of the country's farming history.
They were effectively the first affordable four-wheel drive vehicle that could be used in all situations, and they were very much the farmer's friend. There's probably not an area of rural New Zealand that Land Rovers haven't been driven over or haven't worked on, and particularly the older vehicles have become absolutely iconic.
Before going on their four-wheel drive trek, the drivers practiced a parade they'll be putting on for the public at the Wheels at Wanaka event just after 9 a.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. In Wanaka, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, Gore High School celebrates a significant milestone, and we have a new edition of Global Insight with Professor Robert Patman, so catch this and more after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have got a deal for you. We're going hard, we're going early, so we've gone hard on the prices, 50% off, a great selection. Shorts, look at all these shorts. T-shirts, they're all half price. Check out all those tees along there. What about all these ones down here? Also at a great saving, 50% off. We're going hard, we're going early. Polo shirts, short sleeve shirts, there's such a variety.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
It's the Alex Campbell Menswear, go hard, go early, summer sale. Don't miss this one.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Welcome back. Two former pupils of Tutorau Primary School south of Gore can remember back to the 1930s when the school was just one classroom heated with an open fire. The pupils were just some of the 100 or so who turned up for the school's 150th celebrations.
About 100 former pupils, families and friends have taken part in Tutorau Primary School's celebration of 150 years. Event organiser Lisa Perkins says the historic primary school south of Gore is one of the few left from an earlier era.
Oh, it's just, I think, just wonderful for a district to celebrate 150 years at a small country school, because so many small country schools, of course, have closed. And this little school is situated so close to other bigger schools, but we've managed to hold our ground, and today's children have all been a part of it as well, which has been really nice.
Sisters Flora and Sheila McLaughlin can remember the relatively primitive heating system in the school when they attended in the 1930s.
An open fire in the winter, and the same.
Where was the fire?
In the corner.
I just remember Potbelly's stoves. I don't remember. I was trying to think about that, and I can't remember a fireplace in the school.
Must have been earlier.
That might have been. You said there was only one room. See, there were two rooms when I started, so that must have come in between the two of them.
The celebrations included photo opportunities at the school, as well as a formal dinner in Gore. In Tutorau, the South Today.
In today's Global Insight, Professor Robert Patman says a little-used international agreement is a potential weapon against Myanmar's violent military coup. The international affairs commentator says the military authorities in Myanmar have forfeited the right to exercise responsibility.
It's 2 months since a military coup overthrew the democratically elected government of Myanmar. Peaceful mass protests and an increasingly violent response by the military is evolving into a lopsided civil war in which hundreds of civilians have already been killed. How should the international community respond? Welcome, Robert.
Hi, Bruce.
What is happening in Myanmar is terrible. But it's only one of 34 attempted coups and about a dozen successful coups around the world during the last decade. Is what's happening in Myanmar just going to be a tragedy within a country's borders that is soon forgotten by the international community, or is it somehow going to get more attention?
That's a very important question. Why do situations like Myanmar happen where a military coup occurs? Because there's nothing to prevent it. There's no international mechanism which is, designed to protect elections per se. To answer your question, I think what we're seeing now in stark focus is two approaches to sovereignty. There are those like China and Russia which are supporting the military authorities in Myanmar, who take the view that the sovereignty of the people in power is the crucial thing. And therefore they would see any international attempt to support the overwhelming population of Myanmar, which have roundly rejected the coup, as domestic interference. On the other hand, there's another view of sovereignty which believes it's essentially a social contract between the government of a country and its population, and if the government fails in its duty to protect its people, indeed abuses them, And what we've seen is absolutely shocking. Since early February, we've seen more than 440 citizens of Myanmar killed at the hands of the military, many of whom are unarmed. In that circumstance, then according to that view of sovereignty, a broader view of sovereignty, the social contract between the government and the people, then the military authorities in Myanmar have forfeited the right to exercise responsibility, which then raises the question, what can be done about this?
And I see protests taking place in Myanmar calling for the international community to respond, and if it was going to be attempted, it would have to be attempted through the UN?
Yes, it's interesting to me that UN officials are now speaking as if they recognise that nothing's going to happen for the UN Security Council and are calling for international action, international emergency summits and the like, and hints about the responsibility to protect that might bypass the UN Security Council but somehow nevertheless have some sort of UN support. So I think the UN officials, the public servants who work in the UN, are extremely frustrated by the dysfunctionality that's been caused by the existence of the veto, which means that the UN can't deal with situations it was designed to deal with.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Ka kite anō.
And you can watch the full interview with Professor Patman online at odt.co.nz. After the break on The South today, we've got a special edition of Football Chat focusing on women in football, and we've got your weather for the long Easter weekend. So see you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have got a deal for you. We're going hard, we're going early, so we've gone hard on the prices, 50% off, a great selection. Shorts, look at all these shorts. T-shirts, they're all half price. Check out all those tees along there. What about all these ones down here? Also at a great saving, 50% off. We're going hard, we're going early. Polo shirts, short sleeve shirts, there's such a variety.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
It's the Alex Campbell Menswear. Go hard, go early, summer sale. Don't miss this one.
Thanks for staying with us. This long weekend is set to be a bit longer for school pupils, as it's the first time in many years Easter has fallen outside of the school holidays, meaning there's no school on Tuesday. Also, Fire and Emergency New Zealand have issued a warning for people travelling these holidays. As we will hear in the weather shortly, it's due to be warm and dry with the fire risk listed as high. New Zealand police say officers will be out in force over Easter, trying to keep the country's roads safe. The worst Easters on record were 1971, when 21 people died, and 1987 with 19 fatalities. In this edition of Football Chat, host Morgan Jarvis chats with Football South Community Development Officer Alice Clipsham and player coach at Green Island Football Club Jess Fuller about the growing strength of the women's game in the South.
Hi and welcome to Football Chat, where we chat about the men's and women's Southern Premiership competitions. A couple of weeks into them now. It's been some really cool results from the weekend. It's getting really interesting. But before we kick into chatting about that, I want to introduce my guests. I've got Jess Fuller from Green Island. Thanks for coming in, and Alice Clipsham, Football South Community and Development Manager, I think. Is that the official title there?
Community Development Officer.
Community Development Officer, great, with a focus on the girls and women's stuff and also refereeing and that as well. Yeah, awesome. Wow, it's got to be keeping you busy.
Definitely, yeah.
Especially at the moment, because it's been an exciting month with a big focus on girls and women's football right across the country, and there's been heaps of awesome events happening locally. So tell us about some of them, starting with, I see there's been some like Have a Go days right across the region.
Yeah, so we've had 3 Have a Go days at Logan Park Turf. So we had over 500 girls across those 3 days.
Wow.
We've had one in Oamaru and one in Timaru as well, and they had 70 between them. So that's also a great success for them. And I think we just into February when we had one in Cromwell.
It's great that there's like females essentially role models with the likes of Lindsay and yourself and that are actually out there being part of big premier matches locally now too.
Yeah, it's great to see how many females we have in the SBL, and we also have 2 new females that just in their level 1 that they will then go on to the Women's Premier League as assistant referees. So I believe Football South's leading the way in New Zealand with 8 active female officials in either the SBL or the Women's Premier League. So we are really having a great push on the women's space for referees. So it's great to see.
Yeah, and Jess, well, you got your playing season off to a perfect start on the weekend, which we'll get to in a minute. But the other neat thing, which I've been reading about you lately, is how passionate you've been on the coaching side of things and the awesome opportunities that's opening up. How did you get into that at such a young age?
I think it just all came from a coach kind of said to me, like, you're always at the football field, why don't you get coaching to go? And instead of me just kicking a ball into the goal all the time, let's try and use your time wisely and see how many people you can help. So yeah, got into that, did a few of the like regional coaching courses, and then just recently sat the CE licence, which was a really good experience and lots of learning in that. So hopefully this year looking forward to applying it and carry on learning.
Look, that wraps up Football Chat for this week. A big thanks to Jess and Alice for coming in. Look, have a great Easter everyone. Make sure you get down and check out some footy over the weekend, and we'll see you again next week.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. A convoy of minis makes its way from north of Auckland to Invercargill for an annual event. A potential new dairy industry is promoted at Field Days near Christchurch, with milk of another kind on offer. And a historic Land Rover is going on display at the Wheels over Wanaka this weekend. And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, a brilliant blue sky above central Dunedin, with the moon still visible this morning. Looking at the situation, a cold day tomorrow with a period of showers as southwesterly winds freshen up. Mostly fine on Saturday, but strong winds can be expected on Saturday night. Becoming fine on Sunday and fine on Monday, so after a rough Easter Friday, the long weekend turns out okay. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, it's a rainy day with showers and light winds for all in this region, with 17 degrees in Westport and 16 degrees in Greymouth. Moving to the northeast, looking at 21 degrees with rain and light to moderate winds here for Nelson, and similar in Blenheim also with 21 without the rain but cloudy. Heading to the Canterbury region, it's a wet Good Friday here with 19 degrees in Kaikoura with moderate winds and 18 in Christchurch and 17 degrees in Ashburton with light winds. Moving to the southern towns, showers clearing with decreasing southwesterlies for all centres here. The Catlins and Balclutha both reach 14 degrees and Lumsden and Gore slightly lower with 13 degrees. Moving over to the central region, it showers with decreasing southwesterlies for all here. Wanaka reaches 15 degrees, Queenstown and Alexandra reach 14 degrees, and Te Anau 13 with showers clearing later on. To the northern towns along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru will be looking at a southwesterly change with showers thrown in. Timaru reaches 17 degrees and Oamaru 16 degrees. Inland showers are also on the cards here too, with decreasing southwesterlies and 15 degrees for Twizel and Amarama. In Dunedin, mild northerlies and high cloud tonight with a low of 12. Strong gusty cold southwesterlies developing early morning tomorrow with a period of showers. Showers will clear during the afternoon and winds decrease. Cold tomorrow night, looking at a high of 15 and a low of 6. Rather cloudy but dry on Saturday with cool southwesterly winds at first dying out, then followed by northeasterlies later. A few sunny periods developing in the afternoon, a high of 17 and a low of 9. And long sunny periods and some high cloud on Sunday with strong gusty northwesterlies decreasing during the day. And it's mostly fine and sunny on Easter Monday with moderate southwesterlies. And in Invercargill, westerlies freshening tonight with rain later on with a low of 11. Cold and showery tomorrow morning with blustery southwesterlies, but becoming fine during the afternoon and winds will ease. Cold tomorrow night though, looking at a high of 14 and a low of 7. And it's fine on Saturday with westerlies freshening and cloud increasing. There'll be a period of strong winds on Saturday night, looking at a high of 15 and a low of 11. And it's cloudy with a few showers at times on Sunday and strong westerlies decreasing during the day, becoming fine and sunny on Easter Monday with moderate southwesterlies dying out. And that's all for our news this Thursday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us, ka kite anō, and don't forget, as well as being Easter, it's also daylight savings time with clocks set to fall back an hour for autumn this Sunday night. Have a happy and safe Easter, and we will see you on Tuesday.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.